Be honest with yourself for a second. Most men are walking around hypnotized by words. A late night I miss you, a soft emoji, a message sent just often enough to keep hope alive, and they mistake that noise for meaning. That's the trap, because words cost nothing. Anyone can type affection, anyone can perform interest, but very few people invest behavior. What actually matters, the truth, that decides whether you're loved or just being kept comfortable, never shows up in texts. It shows up in patterns, in sacrifices, in what happens when there's nothing to gain and no one is watching. Today isn't about guessing, it's about certainty. I'm going to break down 6 specific things women only do for one kind of man, the man they genuinely love. Not the guy they like, not the one they tolerate, not the backup. The man they are emotionally committed to at a core level. Once you see these behaviors clearly, you won't overanalyze messages anymore. You won't chase breadcrumbs. You won't confuse attention with devotion. You'll be able to tell instantly whether you're dealing with real love or a comfortable illusion. Most men never learn this. They stay confused. You won't. Sign 1. She cares for you without being prompted. Picture this. It's a cold Tuesday morning in London. You didn't sleep well. Your mind was heavy, your body slower than usual. You didn't complain. You didn't announce it. You just moved through the day like men usually do, quietly. And somehow she noticed. Before you asked for anything, before you even realized you needed it, she adjusted. A message checking if you'd eaten. Coffee waiting when you sat down. A calm, steady presence that didn't demand attention, didn't seek praise, didn't ask for credit. That's not coincidence. That's instinct. When a woman truly loves a man, care becomes automatic. Not dramatic. Not performative. Silent, precise. She doesn't need instructions. She doesn't wait for permission. Something in her pulls her toward your well-being. She wants you steady. She wants you sharp. She wants you winning. This isn't about playing house or stepping into some outdated role. This is emotional investment in its purest form. When she's in love, your state becomes relevant to her nervous system. She notices your energy shift before you explain it. She senses pressure before you name it. She checks on the small details because the small details tell her whether you're okay. She remembers your meeting in New York. She asks how it went without being reminded. She knows you skipped lunch because you were focused. She brings it up without accusation, without control, just awareness. That level of attention doesn't come from attraction alone. Attraction wants excitement. Love wants stability. And here's the line most men refuse to draw. She will not do this for a man she's unsure about. She won't disrupt her routine for someone she's still evaluating. She won't invest effort into a situation she's mentally keeping temporary. If you're a placeholder, you get convenience, not care. A woman won't quietly support a man she's still comparing. She won't soften her life for someone she hasn't chosen. She won't pour energy into a situation where her heart hasn't settled. That kind of care requires safety, certainty, emotional commitment. When she's still dating around, still entertaining options, still unsure of where you stand, the behavior is different. The concern is lighter. The attention is sporadic. The effort feels conditional. But when her walls drop, the shift is unmistakable. Her actions become consistent even when you're not watching. That's the part most men miss. Real care happens off stage. No audience. No validation. No leverage. Just behavior. Think about it. Anyone can say they care. Anyone can send a sweet message at midnight. But showing up quietly, repeatedly without being asked, that's expensive. That costs energy, time, focus, and women don't spend those currencies recklessly. When she loves you, she wants you at your best because she sees your future as connected to hers. Your growth feels personal. Your health matters. Your peace matters. In her mind, your rise is shared ground. So if you're confused about how she feels, stop listening to reassurance and start observing patterns. Look at what she does when nothing is required. When there's no reward. When nobody is watching. That's not romance. That's truth. Sign 2. She protects your name when you're absent. There's a room you're not in. Maybe it's a cafe in Toronto. Maybe it's a living room in Manchester. Your name comes up casually in conversation. You're not there to defend yourself. You're not there to correct the story. This is where love reveals itself. Because how she speaks about you in your absence matters, more than how she treats you in your presence. When a woman doesn't care deeply, she stays neutral. She lets comments slide. She allows subtle disrespect. She laughs it off when someone pokes at your flaws. Not because she agrees, but because you're not important enough to protect. Silence is easy when there's no emotional stake. But when she loves you, that changes instantly. Your name isn't just a word. It's attached to her identity, to her judgment, to her pride. So when someone crosses the line, she responds calmly, directly, without hesitation. She shuts it down when her friend jokes at your expense. She corrects the narrative when someone misrepresents you. She draws boundaries even if it creates discomfort. And that matters because defending someone who isn't present carries risk. Social friction, awkwardness, judgment. Most people avoid that. Love doesn't. A woman in love becomes protective without being aggressive. She doesn't need to raise her voice. She just refuses to let your name be diminished. She chooses loyalty over approval, integrity over fitting in. And here's what that really means. You're no longer just someone she's dating. You're part of how she sees, herself. Your reputation reflects on her discernment. Your character matters because she's aligned with it. That's why this sign is so revealing. Anyone can act affectionate when you're around. Presence creates pressure. Absence removes it. What she does then is unfiltered truth. If she defends you when you're not there, it means she's loyal to the idea of you, to your values, to the bond itself. She's not waiting to see which way things go. She's already chosen. And if she doesn't? If she stays quiet while others disrespect you? If she allows your name to be questioned without response? Then understand this clearly. You're still optional. Ask yourself honestly, if your name comes up when you're not in the room, is it protected or exposed? Because a woman who won't defend you in your absence hasn't earned access to your presence. Loyalty isn't loud. It's consistent. And it always shows itself when you're not there to demand it. Sign 3. She chooses emotional exclusivity before labels exist. Imagine this. It's early. Nothing has been defined yet. No titles, no official conversations, no what are we talks. You're still technically free, and so is she. But something has already shifted. You notice it in small ways first. The replies from other men stop showing up on her phone when you're around. The male friends with vague intentions slowly fade into the background. Invitations that would have caused friction quietly get declined. Not announced. Not explained. Just removed. This is where most men get confused because nothing has been said out loud, but something has been decided internally. When a woman truly loves a man, exclusivity begins in her behavior long before it begins in conversation. She doesn't need rules. She doesn't need ultimatums. She self-selects. In her mind, the emotional slot is already filled. You might be in New York, building your routine, focused on your work. She's in London, living her life. Yet her actions start aligning with you. She doesn't flirt by accident. She doesn't keep doors open, just in case. She doesn't move like someone still shopping. Not because she's afraid of losing you, but because she's already chosen you. This is the difference most men miss. A woman who is only interested will ask what's allowed. A woman who is in love decides what's appropriate. She regulates herself. Quietly. Naturally. Without drama. She stops posting for attention. She becomes less visible, more private. Not because you asked her to disappear, but because love doesn't need spectators. Love protects the bond before it's even named. And here's something important. She doesn't frame this as sacrifice. She doesn't complain. She doesn't keep score. Because in her heart, she's not giving something up. She's committing to something better. You'll feel it in the tone, in the consistency, in the way she removes potential threats without announcing it. She's not testing you. She's aligning with you. Contrast that with a woman who isn't there yet. She keeps one foot outside. She stays socially loud. She entertains attention while claiming loyalty. She needs the label first because the behavior isn't ready. Love doesn't wait for permission. So don't be hypnotized by titles. Titles are easy. Behavior is expensive. Watch what happens before the relationship is defined. If she's already moving as if you matter, protecting the connection, prioritizing peace, reducing noise, that's not coincidence. That's emotional exclusivity. And if she isn't doing that, if she's still fully available to everyone while keeping you emotionally invested, then you're not confused. You're informed. Sign 4. She adjusts to your world without erasing her own. This is where depth shows up. You have a life, a direction, a rhythm. Maybe you're in Los Angeles grinding late nights. Maybe you're in Sydney, training early mornings. Your schedule isn't built around constant reassurance. Your focus isn't flexible. A woman who doesn't truly love you will fight that. She'll see your purpose as competition, your ambition as neglect, your boundaries as distance. But a woman who loves you moves differently. She doesn't try to dominate your life. She doesn't ask you to shrink your vision so she can feel comfortable. She studies your world instead, not to control it, but to understand it. She learns how you operate. She notices when you need space and when you need support. She adapts without resentment. If you're at the gym late, she doesn't guilt trip you. She adjusts the connection. A call later. A message that says presence without pressure. If you're building something and can't text constantly, she doesn't panic. She trusts the direction. She shows up in ways that don't disrupt your momentum. She starts asking real questions. Not surface-level curiosity, but genuine interest. Your goals, your mentors, your routines, the things you don't talk about much. The battles you fight quietly. And here's the key part. She doesn't disappear herself. She keeps her identity, her interests, her standards. She doesn't dissolve into your life. She integrates with it. She becomes part of your rhythm, not a distraction from it. Think about music. A good melody doesn't overpower the beat. It enhances it. That's what alignment looks like. She's not looking for escape. She's looking for construction. Something stable. Something intentional. Something built, not chased. This isn't fireworks and chaos. This is calm, sustainable, chosen daily. When she adjusts without resentment, supports without control, and aligns without losing herself, that's not temporary attraction. That's long-term thinking. Because love isn't about possession. It's about direction. If she's learning your world, respecting your purpose, and fitting into your life without demanding, you abandon it. You're not dealing with fantasy. You're dealing with something grounded. And that kind of alignment is rare. Sign 5, she witnesses your darkness and remains. There's a moment most men try to hide, not from the world, but from the woman they care about. The moment when confidence cracks, when certainty fades, when the armor you wear every day finally comes off. Picture it clearly. It's late. Maybe you're alone in an apartment in Chicago. The city is loud outside, but your head is louder. Something didn't work. A plan collapsed. A mistake resurfaced. You're not charming. You're not smooth. You're not leading. You're just human. This is where the truth shows up. Most women are attracted to your strength, your drive, your composure, your ambition packaged clean and confident. That's the highlight reel. And attraction lives there. But love doesn't stop there. A woman who truly loves you stays when the reel ends. She doesn't flinch when you admit doubt. She doesn't lose interest when your voice carries weight instead of certainty. She doesn't disappear when you talk about fear, failure, or regret. She doesn't turn your openness into ammunition later. That's rare, because vulnerability gives power, and most people misuse power. They store it. They remember it. They pull it out when things go wrong. A woman who loves you doesn't do that. She treats your darkness as sacred information. She sits with you instead of trying to fix you. She listens without interrupting your process. She respects silence as much as words. She understands that sometimes a man doesn't need solutions, he needs space to breathe without being judged. And something important happens in that space. She doesn't pity you. That's the difference. Pity weakens. Respect deepens. When a woman loves you, seeing your struggle doesn't reduce her attraction. It increases her understanding. To her, vulnerability isn't collapse. It's trust. It means you chose her as a safe place. That choice matters. She sees the contrast. The man who carries responsibility. The man who keeps moving despite doubt. The man who faces his flaws instead of hiding from them. She understands that strength isn't the absence of weakness. It's the willingness to confront it. She becomes a mirror, not just reflecting who you are, but who you're becoming. She might challenge you. She might call you out. She might push you forward when you want to retreat. But she never frames your imperfection as unlovable. She doesn't say, "You're broken." She says, "You're human and still worthy." That's loyalty at a level most people never experience. Anyone can celebrate your wins. Anyone can show up when you're confident and successful. But love is tested when there's nothing impressive to admire, when all that's left is truth. Think about it. How many people have seen you at your lowest and stayed steady? How many didn't run, didn't judge, didn't lose respect? Very few. That's why this sign matters more than all the others combined. Because it can't be faked. It can't be performed. It only appears when emotional safety is real. A woman who stays in your darkness isn't staying out of obligation. She isn't staying out of fear. She's staying because something in her recognizes something in you, a shared frequency, a bond deeper than surface attraction. She understands that growth includes struggle, that progress includes failure, that masculinity isn't perfection, it's responsibility, and she chooses you anyway. If you've ever experienced that, don't minimize it. Don't take it lightly. That kind of loyalty doesn't come around often. And when it does, it changes how you move through the world. And if you haven't experienced it yet, now you know what to watch for. Not grand gestures, not dramatic speeches, but calm presence in hard moments. Because love isn't revealed when things are easy. It's revealed when things fall apart, and someone stays grounded beside you. That's the final test. Conclusion. If you've followed every sign, every behavior, and every pattern I've shared today, one thing becomes crystal clear. Real love doesn't need words to prove itself. It's quiet. It's consistent. It's invisible until you're paying attention. It shows up in actions, in loyalty, in alignment, in emotional exclusivity, and in the courage to stay when the world sees only your flaws. Most men spend years chasing illusions, text messages, surface-level affection, temporary attention. But a woman who genuinely loves you, she invests when it costs her nothing to gain, protects your name when no one is looking, aligns with your life without erasing her own, and stays in your darkness without judgment. That kind of love isn't common. It's rare. It's sacred. So take a hard look at your relationships. Stop listening to words that don't carry weight. Start watching actions that define loyalty. Recognize the women who invest fully, not partially. And don't settle for placeholders, performances, or convenience disguised as affection. If this hit home, if even one of these signs has shown up in your life, don't just reflect on it. Step into clarity. Recognize it, respect it, and protect it. Because once you identify the woman who does all of this, you're no longer guessing at love. You're experiencing it. Drop the word anchor in the comments right now. Because when a woman truly loves you, she doesn't drift. She becomes your anchor. Solid, unwavering, undeniable. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.